Hi, Alex.
Hey,
How's
it's good. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Very well. Um, yeah, should we kick
Yeah,
off?
yeah, I'm excited for this one. Why don't you take it away and we'll get started.
I'd love to. Brilliant. Well, first of all, thank you everyone for joining our webinar today. We've got some good numbers, which is great. So my name is Hector. I'm head of customer success here at Fuzey. My job essentially is ensuring customers get the best out of our platform. So I end up spending most of my time talking to our users to make sure that they're running their business in the best possible way, and essentially using Fuzey to kind of maximize their value. So before Fuzey, I actually worked in consulting, and before that, I was actually a structural engineer. So that's slightly varied background, but I've ended up here. Alex, I'll let you do your own
Yeah, for
intro.
sure. Hi guys, nice to see everybody. My name's Alex Boyce. I'm the co-founder of Fuzey. Worked in tech all my life, and I think most importantly, grew up in a small business family. You can probably tell that I hail from the U.S. And my mom has a small business that I've helped her with for the years and decades of my life. And I'm really excited about talking to you guys about not only what we do here at Fuzey, but most importantly, just really workshopping messaging and customer communication, really how to attract more leads and convert them into customers. So excited for this one, and we can kick it off.
Let's do it. Brilliant. So here's a bit of a run through of our agenda for the day. So firstly, we sort of really want to explain how attracting more leads for your business doesn't need to be rocket science, and can basically broken down into getting more reviews, making communication easy, and finally not missing customers due to being in the middle of a job. So what we'll do to start off with is we'll walk through these, explaining them as clearly as possible so you understand how to attract
Yeah,
leads.
absolutely. And then we want to take you through and explain essentially how you can take these leads and convert them into customers. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's our business or yours. I think that's the goal of what we want to do. And we really want to make sure that you're able to quickly gather information from your lead, reduce the cost of the odds of getting no-showed, and then of course getting paid promptly. So the key and all we really want to do today is really help you figure out how to run your business most efficiently. So why don't we get started? Awesome. So look, here at Fuzey, we absolutely love reviews. We love them to death. We so much so that we actually talk about them all the time. And I mean, I think circling back and thinking about how and why we started this company, a lot of what we started this company for was actually my personal experience and my co-founder's personal experience in really getting reviews for small businesses, because it doesn't matter what you do, it's going to be important that other people can validate that you do what you do at the quality levels and with the abilities that you have. So why do we go on about them so much? They are literally the cheapest and easiest way to grow your business. Just look at the stats on the screen here. I mean, we've got essentially the more reviews you have, the higher you'll be ranked in search and maps, and the higher you rank, the more jobs you'll likely get. So 87% of consumers read reviews for local businesses. A 1-star increase in your ratings can lead to a 5 to 9% increase in revenue, which is wild. 93% of consumers head straight to their search engine when trying to find a business, and reviews make up about 13% of how companies are ranked on search, right? So if you think about the headwinds that we're all facing today, if that's inflation or people getting skittish about bringing on new services or tools, reviews are the cheapest and easiest way to make sure that you get more people in the door and get more money coming through the business. So absolutely.
Yeah, and we've all done it. We've thought about where to go out for dinner, trying to book accommodation on our holiday, and then obsessively click the reviews to make sure we're going somewhere that we're really going to like and is going to impress our friends as well. And this is fundamentally the same in every industry, regardless of where you are. But particularly, we see this a lot in the trades and services industries. So customers are always going to go back to check your reviews. So the more you have, the better they are, and the higher chances of competing with other businesses in the area. And actually, at Fuzey, this is something that we really focus on. So on the next slide, you'll see this is our sort of case study customer. So One of our customers that we're really passionate about, who's one of our first customers, a company called Now EV, which installs sort of EV charging points in homes. You can see on the screen that he's managed to increase his reviews by nearly 6 times, which has basically doubled his Google page views, which is pretty amazing. So now he has over, I think, 140 5-star reviews, and every week or every month he seems to be hiring more staff to help him with all the work that just seems to be coming in. So he's sort of a fantastic expansion story, really primarily off the back of garnering more.
Yeah, and honestly, I think a lot of these stats actually are a couple weeks or maybe even a couple months old at this point. So we've even done more than that for him. But what's exciting about this is that this isn't an isolated success story. There are plenty of companies which have realized the power of reviews, and ultimately that's why they're so important. But I think, I think that getting a lot of work requests brings us, to our next point, which is really how can we make it easier for prospects to reach you? Look, I'll be the first to say it. I don't check my emails enough. I might always be on my phone, but ultimately, as with, I'm sure all of you, you receive just tons and tons and tons of emails over the course of every single day. And it's really hard to sift through, right? But that said, I absolutely never miss a text or a WhatsApp. I know that, those are the media where I get everything kind of coming through. And at the end of the day, those are the ones where I'm, for which I'm most responsive. Certainly, my wife expects prompt responses, and I certainly expect the same, from the businesses that that I engage with all the time as well. So I think all of us, as kind of individuals and consumers, have really come to expect more and more and more from the people with whom and the businesses with which we engage. And yeah, certainly easier to do on a text or a WhatsApp versus email.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, we all see this in our day-to-day lives. It's not just Alex's wife. It's actually increasingly what customers across the board are coming to expect. So if they send you a request via WhatsApp, they want to be responded to via WhatsApp. If a customer finds you on Facebook, then surely it makes sense to manage them directly through that channel via Facebook, rather than give them a call, redirect them to your website, send them a text. It just becomes confusing for the customer, and they're much more likely to lose interest and go to another service provider. So on the next slide, we have just a really nice, neat diagram of what we're talking about, an all-in-one inbox. So from the customer point of view, they will just manage the one channel that they like to with you. And from your point of view, you'll just pull in every single channel that you need to manage all those customers. And from one inbox, you can actually do that. This allows you to essentially stop any inquiries falling through the cracks and keep all of your customers as happy as possible. And you can see, again, as we always like to reiterate, the power of reviews. We've actually got that built into our little diagram here. Happy customers equal more reviews, equal more business. So it's kind of a win-win for you.
Yeah, and look, I actually was just on a call with one of our customers earlier today, who said that she wanted to onboard our platform because ultimately they realized that if they didn't get back to, this is a real estate brokerage, and they realized that if they didn't get back to their customers within about a 7-minute window, they were highly likely, so more than 50% likely, to actually find somewhere else. That's a pretty wild stat, right? Basically means that unless you're really on top of making sure that you're hyper responsive to customers, they might just go. And as Hector said, that's just like leaving money to the table, and nobody wants that, particularly in a market like this. In terms of what Fuzey does, exactly as Hector said, our whole philosophy and what we do is we bring everything into one place to make that really, really easy. Because right now, I'm not an octopus. I don't have 8 different hands with 8 different phones to check all my apps. And it's really, really helpful to bring everything to one place. So one of the added bonuses of not having to check 5 different apps to see if you have any new work is that you can actually provide that better customer experience. It's a smoother, communication style for your end customers and easier for you. And if you give your customers an easy experience in terms of how they contact you and you do the great work, they're going to be that much more likely to leave you a great review. So, as we learn, reviews are a great way to get more leads. So if you're able to get more leads and be more responsive to actually convert them, everyone wins. So look, in terms of how to convert these leads, or how to convert these leads into customers and how to do that fast. This is obviously a very, very big focus of ours here at Fuzey. So you might be wondering, okay, it's great that I have all these channels for people to message me on, but how do I, essentially, how do I make it that much easier for me to actually accomplish everything I have to do in my day, through the 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours that you're working? And how can I get back to them in a really structured and standardized way? Well, a couple different ways to do that, right? The first is, template messages and making sure that everything in your business is standardized. Being able to be super consistent with answering questions and making sure that you're really, thoughtful about doing that, means that you can ultimately provide a better end customer experience. So with standardized answers for all of your channels, you can immediately reply with a request for information without having to look away from your work. This provides an easier way for you to get back to your customers and a much, much clearer picture for your customers as well.
Yeah, and exactly. The sort of best way to set up standardized answers is sort of analyzing what's worked in the past, preparing templates that will let you get back to your customers quickly, as well as asking the right questions that will allow you to quickly qualify that lead. You can see here that the pre-prep templates are just a way to handle your customers, and they allow your team to handle your customers in a unified way as well, which obviously saving time saves you money, which is great. And then talking about time wasters, no-shows are definitely the worst, and you definitely need to reduce the chances that these guys happen. We experience these guys all the time, and I'm sure you guys do too. Having a no-show is literally just a burnt money. It's just leaving money at the table, and you should be really, really focused on avoiding them at all costs and making sure that no-shows are just something of the past, something that you have to deal with as rarely as possible, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, automated appointment reminders are, as an example, a really easy and effective way to remind your customers of their, upcoming appointments or bookings, as you like. If ultimately they're reminded and they know that this is upcoming, it's far more likely that they'll be able to reschedule or at least let you know if they can't make it. So you are never stuck in the position of having to drive to their place before, finding out that they're, perhaps not home. This is a really, really, really important thing if you're thinking about gas prices right now, or petrol prices, which are through the roof, right? And really thinking about how can I make sure that I maximize each and every moment of my workday to be super effective. So we are very, very, very keen on making sure that all of our customers use our scheduling tool, because we've seen so many dividends in terms of getting people a little bit more effective and in that reduction of no-shows across their businesses.
Yeah, and finally, once you avoid these nasty no-shows and actually can manage to get your job done, it's all about cash flow. It's all about getting that money in the bank as fast as you can in the most efficient way that you can. And obviously, you want to make that set up in a way that is good for your end customer as well. You're sort of slick and a good experience, but you also want to benefit yourself, the merchant. So you want to ensure not only that you're not constantly chasing for payments, but you're also reducing your fees as low as you can. And one thing that we are really passionate about is open banking, and you can see sort of a bit of an explanation of that on the slide here. Open banking solutions like the one that Fuzey provides are essentially super effective because they make it very easy for your customer to pay. So they'll do it right away, which is brilliant. It means less chasing. It means better cash flow for you. But they also keep those fees really low. So rather than spending 2% with standard card payments, and you're also having to rent the card machine, with open banking, it's much closer to sort of 0.1%, or sometimes it's a flat fee of 20 or 30p. So your fees will be vastly reduced, which increases your profit margin, and the customer experience is still just as good. So there are obviously a lot of benefits to that, and definitely something that is absolutely worth considering if you're sort of trying to increase your profit margins, particularly, as Alex said, in today's economy.
Exactly. And look, in fact, you can actually send a payment link straight to your customers as soon as you complete the work. I've seen firsthand how many people have to kind of go back home, create the invoice, either email it or mail it, and wait, days, weeks, or sometimes even months to ultimately get, paid for their work. With Fuzey, there's no more of that. You don't have to chase for bank transfers for days. You can actually get paid right on the spot, and ultimately actually realize that revenue, in a flash. You also don't even need to give your bank details, because obviously with that there's the risk of typos or misinterpretation in terms of what's needed. You can actually just give them a payment form or a payment request straight from their straight from your app to their mobile banking app. The funds get paid into your account instantly and with almost zero fees relative to credit cards. So they're exactly as Hector said. What's incredibly kind of powerful about this is you can make sure that you actually get that money in the door immediately and capitalize from there. So I think just to wrap up on how to convert leads into customers faster. I mean, we think about things in three kind of key tenets. One is the importance of standardizing your answers and simplifying the way that you communicate, right? You really want to think about, how can you put that best foot forward with respect to, your customer communication and really being not only responsive, but giving the right answer. The second is, reduce no-shows at all costs, right? You don't want to waste your time or your team's time on somebody who's not going to ultimately be able to pay you. And you want to make sure that that end customer has a great experience and knows when you're coming, when you're showing up, and what's going to happen. And finally, as we just said, you want to get paid right away. You want to make sure that you get paid, that you get money in the bank as soon as you can, so you can make payroll, so you can get your inputs and supplies and run your business more efficiently. And really, we think that in terms of like taking a step back and saying, how do I, kind of attract more leads and convert them into customers? These are the three tenets of doing that in a really effective way. And ultimately being able to do that, not only in kind of in an effective way of getting more people through the door, but also saving a ton of money as well, right? Because if you're thinking about driving your business through traditional means of marketing or anything like that, those are all wonderful ways to get people through your door, but it's expensive. So rather than having throwing money at different things, particularly in kind of an environment like this one, we think it's the best time ever to really focus on capitalizing on the great work that you do, getting reviews, and driving your business that way too. So, look, I know that this was a very quick 17 minutes run through, but we hope that this has been helpful. And we'd love to take any questions from the audience about these topics or really anything else in the kind of broader small business landscape. Thanks. So Hector, as we're just waiting for this, I think that there's one that's come through while we were actually talking. And it reads, "What if I receive a negative review?" Hector, you want to take this one?
Yeah, that's a good question actually. So it's very unlikely that you're going to do business and not get a negative review. I mean, we do have a few customers in that in that sort of category, but it is relatively rare. You are going to get people who they feel ripped off, they feel unhappy with the service. I think it's important to segregate negative reviews into two buckets. So one will be sort of fake or unjustified, and what you should do with those is you should go to your review hoster, whether that's Google or TripAdvisor, and you should report it as spam. You should report it as an incorrect review, particularly if someone who hasn't even used your product or service. And then they actually have review teams that go around, review these submissions, and will have them taken down for you if they deem them as unfair. And then for the reviews which are potentially justified, potentially you did have a bad experience with this customer, maybe you didn't deliver the quality of service that they would like. What I would do with that is I would make sure that you respond to that review directly on the platform where you've been left it. And the reason to do that is if I'm looking at a service or a company and I'm looking at their reviews, if I see a negative review, those are the ones that I'm going to be drawn to. I'm going to be interested in knowing what people think these guys did badly. And if I look at those and there's a really reasoned response saying, "We're really sorry you had a bad experience. We talked to the people in question. Please, the next product or service is free or 50% on us," then I'm going to look at that and go, okay, they really care about their customers. They didn't mean to do wrong. Everyone gets bad reviews. So that's the way I would look at them. If you can put them into two buckets and deal with one in the sort of official review way, and then the other in the sort of the nice customer service way, you're still going to get pretty good results even from bad reviews.
Yeah, I think that's spot on, right? And in that same vein, Hector, I mean, I think it's really important that we make it as easy as possible to respond to reviews. Of course, in the negative way, you want to make sure that you handle that and really show any sort of prospective customer that you're on it, you understand, and that you're, basically turn that negative experience into an opportunity for something positive where they can say, oh, wow, Hector really cares and he wants to make it right. And ultimately, how do you do that? You have to go into the review channel of your choice. So, for Fuzey, we can actually, make it super easy for you to respond to a review straight in line, with no issues or kind of challenges with that. So with that in mind, we think it's a great way to actually turn something around and make lemonade out of lemons, as my mom has always said.
She would say that, wouldn't she? I see that.
Okay, so I think we've got one other question around what is this? It says, can you elaborate on why getting more reviews will help me get more leads? Actually, you want me to take this one, or you want to take it?
Yeah. I don't mind. I mean, this is sort of the thing that I talk about every day. So getting more reviews helps you get more leads simply because of the listing algorithms that you get on review platforms. So if you get more reviews, obviously then you're listed higher when someone searches sort of generic search terms on Google Maps, on Google Search, on any of the other review websites. So say you were looking for plumber in South London, the guy who's got 100 reviews is going to be ranked higher than the guy who's got 50 reviews. And why does that matter? That's a very good question as well. So the reason that how highly you're ranked matters on these search engines is because people are only going to scroll a certain way down. So there are two elements really. There's one, which is trust. The more reviews you have, the more sort of trustworthy you look, the more serious, maybe more larger company you look. So people are going to be more likely to go for that. And the other is just people aren't going to scroll through 100 listings. They're only going to scroll through probably the top 10 before deciding the one that is closest to them or fits them in terms of price. So the higher you are up on that list, the more likely that you're actually going to get picked by a prospective customer. So it's a bit of a race. It's a bit of a race to get good reviews and end up at the top, but it's a race that most people are not actually paying much attention to. So if you act rapidly and you use an efficient tool to gather your reviews, you can actually end up pushed quite high on these algorithms, and it'll start to snowball, right? You'll if you get more reviews, you'll get more good customers, and then they'll all leave you reviews, and you'll get more customers. So it might end up putting you in a place where you're growing faster than you ever hoped.
Yeah.
So that's certainly the case with some of our customers.
Yeah, I think the virtuous cycle is spot on, right? I mean, we know that you guys are building great businesses as is, and we think that really by capitalizing on that, there's nothing better, right? More reviews, more leads, more conversions, more sales. As simple as that. All right, I think we've got one last question before we wrap, which is just how does the payment link work exactly? I think we might actually have a video that can kind of walk through this, but yeah, I mean, I think we make it as simple as possible. So, Hector, hate to put you on the spot again, but maybe you can quickly walk through this.
Yeah, I'd love to. So this is just a little video walkthrough we did. So on the left-hand side, you can see basically the merchant using the Fuzey platform. So they're essentially, they've just opened the toolbar at the bottom. They're in a conversation and they're just requesting a payment. So they're going to add a pretty serious amount, in this case 50p, and put a service render nice and specific, just called service. So you hit send within Fuzey and it just generates a bespoke payment link. And on the right-hand side, you can actually see the customer receiving that. So the last message at the bottom there, you can see, thank you for choosing Fuzey for service. They obviously mirror each other because this is the same conversation. You're just looking at it from the customer side. And then from the customer side, it's very easy. This message lands in their text. They just click the link. It drops them to a payment page and they get two choices. Pay with bank, so that's the open banking tool that we were talking about earlier, or pay the traditional way with card, which has fees and time associated with it, but equally is still something that's preferred by many merchants. In this case, we're going to pay with bank. With open banking, you actually choose the bank that you bank with. So in this case, I actually bank with Monzo because I'm a millennial, and so it takes me to this authorization page. I hit open, and it just drops me into my banking app where I can essentially make the payment. So you can see I just put in my PIN, which I'm obviously not going to tell you guys, and then it completes. So it really is as quick as that. and it's very slick, very easy. And the moment the customer hits approve in their banking app, the payment goes straight to the merchant's bank account. So you'll be able to see it land at the top there. Hector Stanley paid 50p. So that is really how fast it is. There isn't much on the market that moves money faster than that. So hence why we're pretty proud of it.
Awesome. And look, I mean, big thanks to Pete for asking that question. It's always nice to be able to actually have something to show. We obviously, have plenty of videos and stuff on the back end, and when we get to show it and walk through things, it's always really nice too. So glad we were able to shore that out for you guys. Look, I mean, from my perspective, I think hopefully this has been a helpful session. We love sharing these tips. We think that this is really at the core of making businesses like yours more efficient, each and every day. Obviously we'll follow up with all of you guys with a recording of this if that's useful. And obviously please do get in touch if you have any questions at all, or if you'd like to learn more. Hector and I are passionate about this. We always love talking about it. So even if it's outside the context of Fuzey, you have any questions, please don't hesitate. You can reach us at hello@getfuzey.com. Otherwise, I'm Alex at GetFuzey, and Hector is Hector at GetFuzey. So please don't hesitate to reach out for anything at all. Otherwise, head to our website, learn more, and until next time, we look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you for the time, guys.
Ciao.